Hi, I'm Cheryl Hodgkinson Williams, formerly of the University of Cape Town, and I was the principal investigator of the cases on open learning. I am now a research consultant, still supporting the project. And I'm going to be taking you through just a quick summary of what happened in the first seminar on the 7th of September. Sarah gave us an idea of the conditions that support leadership at False Bay TVET College. Mukhtar gave us an understanding of open learning through e-learning at Hodgkinson College. Sue Gredley gave us an understanding of how to use institutional fundraising at the University of the Western Cape as a way of opening up learning. And Tasmay gave us an idea of how work-integrated learning can open up learning. Let's take them one by one. Understanding leadership in context at False Bay College. Sarah suggested that the conditions that support open learning are in fact the same conditions that support any institutional health and functionality. These include policy change, looking at it preemptively and anticipating it, providing clean financial audits, which gives you some kind of wiggle room, taking calculated risks combined with medium to long horizon planning, as well as allocating roles and resources strategically, simultaneously managing outwards with DHET and other colleges and inwards in their own institution, following robust appointment processes, and identifying the key linchpins of academic success, particularly literacy, admissions, and the program fit. Her key recommendations were that the DHET should not expect a one-size-fits-all policy to work in such a varied sector, and that both the DHET and institutions should support some kind of local flexibility at the institution, obviously accountably, that the institutions should try and redress social inequity within the limits of their reach, but not to expect to do it all. Social justice is an entire work of society. Looking now at Mukhtar's work at Hodgkinson College, his key findings showed that in terms of leadership, to support e-learning or ICT-mediated learning, aligned to distributed and visionary leadership with traces of socially just leadership. And Mukhtar was able to develop a model from this case, which included undertaking a thorough contextual analysis, envisioning the desired outcome. This case is open learning through increased e-learning, and then enacting the vision with particularly buy-in from staff and adequate resourcing and piloting of exercises. His key recommendations were that the institution should increase staff engagement and representation at the time these plans are made, that NSFAS should revisit the eligibility criteria, particularly for students who may opt to study online with TVET colleges, and that the DHET should revisit these policies that constrain online assessment and moderation practices for complete online assessment. Now we're looking at Sue's work on fundraising at the University of the Western Cape. Her key focus was on a novel fundraising activity, a phonathon where students were involved in asking people from the community and alumni for funds for the institution, and particularly for academically deserving students. But she says it is a small scale and a stopgap strategy. It did have some other benefits, which included involving students as valued and respected members of UWC and developing real-world learning for these participating students, but obviously it was a limited number of students. But she suggests that, in fact, significant and sustained funding is needed for PSETs and students, and that this institutional fundraising should only really be the cherry on the top. The key recommendations are to make sure that people have cultivated an awareness of the complexity of the institutional context, its culture and history, and what these affordances and challenges might be. And for both the institution and DHET to offer more students access to real-world learning development opportunities. And then for both the DHET and institutions, if they are to undertake these open learning initiatives, to tackle them intentionally and to recognize that coaching is needed. And then finally, Tasmea helped us understanding work integrated learning, particularly for the TVET college staff, and suggest that there actually are some positives that are already being seen. One is that the DHET and TVET colleges are working together to identify some local work integrated learning placements, and the CETAs are providing bursaries, and the DHET has arranged international WIL placements, which are thoroughly appreciated, and that some embedding of WIL in formal qualifications is taking place, but this could be extended to perhaps using micro-credentials, stackable micro-credentials, to make sure that people actually see the value of this, the training that they're doing within these work-integrated contexts. Her key recommendations are to continue to foster the partnerships, both locally and internationally, to institutionalize the pilot projects. Otherwise, they cease as soon as the funding ends. And then to relate the WIL to qualification, to the qualification structure, because this seems to be something that people really appreciate and will put time into. So thanks to Sarah, Mukhtar, Sue, and Tasmea, and for Tabisa and Shanali for their useful comments. I thank you.